You're listening to Living with Louie. Well, hello, folks. I can only apologize for the long delay between podcast episodes. It's going to take the people who truly live with this and understand this to kind of understand that this is this life with Lewy Body is like living inside um, of a bubble, and it shrinks. And one of the things that some things have happened in my life. I lost my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law, and one of the things that, besides the loss, was watching my wife go through old photographs and just sitting there and reminiscing and realizing that eventually one of these days we all kind of just become photographs and memories, and that's pretty much going to be it. But that I guess gave me a little bit of a reality check on my own mortality, and so that kind of started to kind of put me back into that rabbit hole that I had come out of a long time ago, and it's uh, it's time for me to get back out of that rabbit hole and get back to doing some of the things that do give me some purpose. This this world or this bubble seems like it's shrinking. I find that I'm losing any sense of self worth, even though I know that I have worth to my loved ones, certainly. But it becomes difficult when the things that you used to like to do, the things that you love to do, you can't. You just can't do it anymore. And I think it's hard for people to that don't have this. Hard for them to understand the battles that we go through every day, and the fact that that battle can have so many different faces. It all depends on so many things. Things change for me during the day. I don't ever know what I'm going to have the next day. I don't know what I'm going to have at the end of the day. It it's a constant moving target of things that are happening, and I was I was just falling backwards into a depression that I was having a hard time getting out of. The and how do I get back to uh, addressing my podcast with folks? And I had a conversation with someone I haven't talked to for a while, and they said, "Look, the people who listen to this and the people that live with it, they're going to understand because they live with it as well." And that's it's just so true that and the other part is that I'd like to think that I share information that helps people to understand this disease and helps people to manage this disease. I uh, I just know that it's been a difficult time, and I'm doing the best I can to try to figure out how to drag myself up out of this. I think there's some of the things that have kind of also contributed to um, this um, this slide backwards in is losing people that you shared some of your deepest thoughts with. Talking about one of the therapists. You share a lot of things with them, then they're gone. And now, who do you go to? Who do you share those thoughts with? Some of the thoughts that I have are best shared um, with my therapist or therapy team, and not with my wife. I don't want to scare my wife, and I just know that for me, um, the erosion of my medical team and of my therapy team, that's having an impact, and it's hard. But I do know this. I know that the only way to correct this is to pull up my boots, strap them up, and buckle them up, and get back to trying to find that semblance of normal. Um, you know, I know that I've talked about this before about appearing to be normal or leaving the world with the appearance that that everything's okay and everything's normal. The problem is that that's like the facade on a building. It covers up what the building really looks like. It's a facade that kind of you hide behind. The bubble, you you're in your bubble, the place where you feel safe, and and you don't really want to venture too far outside of that bubble. I have to wonder whether that's necessarily maybe not the best thing for me is to stay in a bubble, but it seems like the longer that I go with this disease, the people who I used to have interaction with, I've lost contact with a few times as do people call, and fewer times that people stop by. But I guess that's in part that it's hard for, I guess, people who don't understand to know how to address or talk to me about the things that they don't understand, and make them comfortable. Maybe they're uncomfortable with trying to get past that. I don't know. But I do know that trying to get up out of this rabbit hole is exactly what my intention is. Um, I've had a lot of encouragement to get back on my podcast and get back to um, sharing with the world what it's like to live with Lewy Body, and I know that I guess some of the things that I kind of had to be reminded of is just how many people this podcast has touched, and I I believe that there's a lot of people out there that that want to hear this, and so I want to continue to share the inside story of my journey as I continue to live with this Lewy body. It's it's not anything that's easy to live with. I mostly understand that some people come here to listen to the podcast because they themselves have a loved one that is living with this, and perhaps they will get a better understanding by seeing or hearing what what it's like for someone to be on this side of the lens. It's very easy for people that are standing on the outside to make judgments, and they have their own perception of what they're seeing as you interact with the world. There's a whole nother side of this, and that's the side that I speak from, the side of the lens of the person that actually has to have this happening to them, and it's a struggle. It's a fight every day. You don't know what you're going to be dealing with from day to day because of how crazy Lewy body dementia is. And I know that for myself, uh, it's it's just not. It's hard to sometimes sit here and talk and give people the reality of what you're going through. But the reality is that I feel like my world is shrinking, and that's what I was talking about earlier about a bubble. It just feels like that bubble just keeps getting smaller and smaller, and it's like my world is coming inside instead of outside, because a lot of the things that I've been able to do, I can no longer do. And even you get into situations where you're out in the public, and if you get around too much stuff, you get this overstimulation. You get this um, spatial awareness that you just can't control. I give you for instance, I tried to go out this past weekend with my wife to have lunch, and just being in this small sandwich shop, and really not a whole lot of people in there, but there was enough people in there to make it really overstimulating for me, and people moving and around me. It's very difficult, and I struggle with it. And I'm sure that there are other people out there that I'm sure that struggle with it as well. Um, it's not. It's just hard to tell people what how you're feeling, and even my neurologist said to me when I was talking to him, and he says, "So how do you feel?" And I said, "Like I'm in this fog that I can't seem to get rid of." He goes, "Well, you guys to tell me more than that." It's like, well, sir, I'm doing the best I can to describe to you how I feel, and the hallucinations, the overstimulation, the the drifting off into space. There are times when all of a sudden it's just like you're checked out. It's like you're mentally or you're physically in a place, but mentally you're gone. And my wife will oftentimes pull me back in, and I have to wonder about times when I'm by myself, how much time actually goes by as I experience some of those episodes where you're detached from the reality that's happening around you. Um, but as I started with this podcast, I had told my wife, if I can touch one person, if I can help one person to understand I can help one person maybe feel like, okay, I'm just not alone, then hey, I feel like I've done a good job. But um, the reality is that this has been listened to all over the world, and I've had conversations with people from all over the world, and it's it's just amazing to me how many people have these perceptions about what's going on, you know. But it's there's certainly going to be a legacy of this podcast. It'll be out there long after I'm gone, and so maybe I won't be reduced to just photographs and memories. But that's the mission of this journey for me with this podcast is to share with the world what is happening with me, my inside story, and I do the best I can to try to also bring resources for people and anyone that's interested in getting more information about Lewy body dementia. Um, they can email me at livingwithlouis at yahoo.com. I'll be more than happy to send you what resources I have collected. As I have often said, knowledge is power, and understanding what's happening for me was very powerful to research into things that are out there as to what to expect and whatnot, and also so that I can understand some of the things that symptoms that I have from and understanding that that's part of it, and um, I am truly blessed to have found this avenue to share my story. Um, I I have this gives me mental exercise in that producing this and getting it ready certainly takes um, uh, some forethought and whatnot, and so I feel like just having this avenue is a blessing to me, and I know that it's also blessing other people, and that makes the entire thing worthwhile. It's difficult a lot of times to get my thoughts together and get it wrapped around what I want to kind of convey, and so it's sometimes little difficult for me, but I go through it, and I get to the end, and over the period of time that I've been doing this podcast, I've had several people come on as guests and share their story. If you'd like to share your story, you can find me on Facebook. I have a Facebook group called Living with Louie. I, and I also can be reached, as I said earlier, by email at livingwithlouiepodcast at yahoo.com. So if you'd like to share your story or would like to talk about how things are affecting you, I'd be more than happy to share your story and share your journey, just like I'm sharing mine. And I can tell you that it means a lot to a lot of people. Some of the most listened to um, episodes of my podcast, so to speak, have been where I'm having an interaction with someone else and they're sharing their story, and we're just having a conversation about what it's like living with Louie. We'd like to thank you for joining us for this edition of Living with Louie. Please remember, folks, that we are 100% voluntarily funded by our listeners. So please go to the link at the bottom of your favorite podcast provider, and you'll find a link there that says support the show, or you can find us on GoFundMe under Living with Louie podcast, and every dollar counts, and every dollar helps. So please take a minute and go in and support the show. We certainly would appreciate it. The only thing we try to do is cover our operating costs and equipment maintenance costs. So we thank you and have a great day.